Good evening, everyone. Welcome to On Deck here on every Friday night. I'm Russ Morgan here with Rob Mosley. Rob, we're basically baseball's in full swing. We're here maybe third week in May, coming up to June. How we doing?
Hey, well, you're doing a lot better than my team's doing, but other than that, can't complain. Baseball's here, like you said, it's always
Yeah, well,
fun.
baseball's rolling. Third week, we're starting to maybe get a little picture of who's gonna be the dominant teams in the AL and NL. I was gonna kick it off jamming a bunch of Yankee stuff down your throat because, I mean, look how dominant we look. But we had some news that just came up. Paul Skeens, who made his major league debut on Saturday against the Cubs, goes 4 innings, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 7 Ks, 6 hits. But in the bigger news, today he goes against the Cubs again, goes 6 innings, 11 Ks, 0 runs, and one walk. What First off, what'd you think of his start on Saturday?
I thought his Saturday, he really started off solid, had a great game. Guess maybe, ran into got a couple guys on base. They took him out, and they ended up getting a couple earned runs against them. But when he was in there, they didn't even score runs again, and so he was solid then. And then today, it's a whole other level. But last week, I mean, it was fine for a first start against a Major League Baseball team. He was more than fine. And then today, he just was, not he wasn't a rookie today. He was a dominant MLB pitcher today.
Yeah, definitely. I thought his first start was as expected. You could kind of you saw his stuff. His fastball is definitely overpowering. As we spoke a little before about the numbers, about the analytics, his stuff's overpowering. But you definitely saw a little jitters on some hitters where it's like, hey, this isn't. I can just overpower some of these MLB hitters with just a fastball, which you saw him he hit a couple guys, he had some walks, he got into a little trouble, he got out of it. I mean, he throws 102 and it's got a little run to it, and it's coming from a 6'6" guy, so it probably looks a little faster.
Yeah, it looks definitely high because it's that much closer to the plate already.
Yeah, I mean that
It's
arm,
just
man. I've always said Paul Skeens, man. It's just like the legs and the thighs are just so strong. He probably gets such a push off the mound because we all know baseball is basically all low. Majority is lower half.
yeah.
You're hitting or you're pitching. It's your lower half's getting
I know
the
all the upper half always gets all the credit and all
yeah.
the everyone, most people that start off they want to swing with all their arms and swing as hard as they can, but like you said, all generate your most power is from your base, and that's where it comes. But whatever, Skeens knows the formula because he was bringing it today, and he was. I mean, we were reading a little bit about how he did, but it was just crazy, man. It's
I
just
know you had a little analytical stat on Skeens that some analytics that you want to throw them out.
yeah. Here we go. We got Well, this one is the Skeens. It's just the third pitcher in the pitch tracking era, which is since 2008. So not a long history like baseball, but still pretty good record to track from. To strike out the side on pitches measuring at least 100 miles per hour, joining Hunter Green and Bobby Miller on the list. So, and Hunter Green's done it twice, September 17th, 2022 and October 3rd, 2022, and Bobby Miller did it last year. So he's up there, with some hard throwing guys. And at one point, he threw the 6 strikes he threw the Cub. There were 6 swings and misses. So I just like, that's crazy, man. It says the Cubs swung the bat 6 times in the first frame and whiffed all 6 times.
I
All
mean,
three strikeouts were also on four-seam fastball that registered over 100 miles per hour.
I
So
think with him in general, he's going to start having to work his secondary pitches, his curveball, his slider, his changeup. Personally, for me, I think if you have a strong changeup, I mean, that's one of the best out pitches you can get. And you even see, guys like Chris Paddock is a 2-pitch pitcher, and he's been in the MLB for how long? But you would think at some point he's going to have to start relying a little more on those secondary pitches because you get more. Even though 102 is very fast, these MLB players are just going to be able to sit on it. That
Yeah.
I know it's coming. I'm going to be able to get to it. I'm going to knock on wood before, knock on wood after. I've known I didn't. First off, Hunter Green throws very hard too. I didn't know he's 6'5", so, but he's had injuries. Knowing, me personally, Mean Skeens, and knowing Paul Skeens' career, he was a two-way player. Do you think that? And Hunter Green was specifically a pitcher. That was his pitch, is his spot. Do you think that maybe, knock on wood, is the reason kids nowadays have maybe more injuries where they at a young age they're focusing on, I'm going to be a pitcher,
or a hitter, right? They're either like a pitcher or a hitter, baseball only. Not only that, then you get really specified like pitcher only.
Do you think that's
they even
why
have roster
more
spots on kids' travel baseball team for pitchers only, like an extra. So like they don't even get to hit or anything. They're just on the team as a kid for pitchers only. So
do you think that's why we're seeing more injuries? Where these kids, baseball's a natural throwing motion, so it doesn't matter you're a pitcher, playing a position. But if I'm solely focusing on pitching, and maybe it's the coaching's fault in general too, that they're teaching these kids curveballs and sliders at a young age where these kids' arms aren't fully developed. But I don't think that helps with injury if you're just solely, I'm going to be a pitcher. I'm going to be a pitcher.
Right. No, I don't know. You're right. So especially, like you said, pitching's not even already a natural motion, throwing a baseball and then throwing it at the ink. So many guys come with all kinds of different things, fastballs, curveball, all this stress on the arm and splitters and such a young age. Because, I was always taught when you're young, don't throw anything basically other than a fastball. Maybe you're like a 2-seam or a 4-seam fastball. That's like your chain, maybe a changeup. Nowadays kids are throwing curves, sliders, everything, and so I don't know if that's the difference too, because it's a lot more, all kinds of stuff. So who knows if there's any rhyme right way or wrong way, or people are just built different. Because look at Nolan Ryan, that guy pitched forever, never, he is just like a Texas built truck, I guess.
That's accurate. I grew up, my grandfather was a massive baseball fan. He was, he's a musician, big, but he played music with this, he'd play in the band, the St. Paul Saints, now they're a AAA team, independent. He would tell me about watching Ted Williams in person. He was a big Red Sox fan, Rob, and
he would have been a cool guy. Sounds like.
It's the reason I love baseball. But even back so that's where I got my baseball passion from, and where I learned the game. Where I'm even though I'm 30 younger guy, I know my baseball history. But it's like, back in the day, we would see guys throwing double headers almost.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be like, hey, I threw 7, and then I come back for another 7 or 8 spot. Where now it's like, you throw 6, 5 days, 5-6 days rest.
Yeah. No, at times I'm saying even from when I was young in the majors, like Dennis Eckersley, he's best probably known to a lot of people here as a closer, but he was a pretty good starter for many years.
Yeah.
And he always says now he's retired even from the broadcast booth, but he did a lot of Red Sox games, and he used to say, man, he goes, that's why I guess I open my mouth. He goes, you guys get offended because I say, you're getting a pat on the back for 5 complete innings, 6. He goes, heck, that was like a bad outing on him, He goes, now they call it like quality starts. He goes, he goes, if I didn't pitch at least 8 or 9, he goes, my goal every day was go out and do, he goes, I know it's a different era, but it just is. I mean, those guys went out there with the mentality, I'm going to give my team 9 innings and that's it. Now it's like we talk about a complete game almost like we talk about a no hitter because it's just
Yeah,
so
they talk.
rare
I
that a
mean,
guy.
they talk. Oh, he went a complete game. I mean, I'm like, back in the day, no was amazing.
Yeah.
But I this is a little out of news, and this is personal news. This is Joe Buck is finally going to be back in the baseball booth calling the Cardinals Cubs game. I think in a couple weeks. For me, that's personally exciting. I love Joe Buck. I know
No,
people.
that's cool.
I know people
I know
don't
a
like.
lot of people don't like him. I like Joe Buck fine. I
I
don't
don't.
know.
I know
Yeah.
that people are like he's a homer. I don't care. The guy knows it. Just the voice. I grew up with the guy. Tim McCarver.
Yeah, I know. I know a lot
I
of
love him. I know people don't like him because they think he's a homer.
I know. Just like in football, people hate Tony Romo because they think he's a like Josh Allen lover and all this. But to me, it's just like if they do their job okay, just let it be. It's just like
I mean, I'm happy because for me, I hate all of these baseball announcers. Kill me. I just want to go back to the days where I got Tim McCarver, Joe Buck, Joe Morgan, John Miller. I'll catch
yeah,
myself sometimes listening to Giants on the radio because they got John Miller covering it.
yeah.
I can't take it anymore. We'll move into a little, AL East. My Yankees are looking dominant.
Yes,
Went
they
in,
are. I
hottest
mean, the
team in
Orioles
baseball,
are right on your heels, though. It's going to
right?
be a
I think
battle.
it's, it's a long season, so injuries will definitely happen. Right now, we're 30-15. Played the hottest team in baseball, the Twins, and just shellacked them. Clark Schmidt had the best, his best outing the other day. What did he go? 8 innings. I think he went 8 with shoot. I can't even. They're playing the White Sox right now, so I'm really not that tuned in.
Yeah.
Clark
Well,
Schmidt
the Red
yesterday
Sox
went 8 innings,
St.
3 hits,
uh,
5-0.
Speaking of St. Louis, yeah, the Red Sox are at St. Louis tonight.
But they gave up 1 run. So I mean, the pitching for me, I was always worried about the pitching coming into the season, and then the Cole injury happened. But the pitching's looked, and it's been guys that Rondon's, who was obviously a big signing last year, is looking very good. But it's Lucas Heel and Clark Schmidt, who are 2 guys who barely, Heel was, a spot starter, is 4-1, and Clark Schmidt, might have got that fifth starting spot if Cole was healthy. Now, my thing is, if when Cole comes back, he's starting to throw off the mound now. So they're
Yeah, I know.
looking June. Do you think they go to a 6-man rotation with Clark Schmidt and Luis Heel, pitching so dominant?
Yeah, they might, and that would be less stress on all of them. But like you said many times, pitchers are creatures of habit. They're used to the routine of like the 5-man rotation routine. So, I'm sure the pitching can, you follow them a lot more closely, of course, than I do. So you would know how they operate. But to me, I wouldn't see any harm in it as long as all the other pitchers are on board and think they can get their routine fine. And why not have more? Because, like you say, someone's going to get hurt. So why not have more good pitchers out there pitching when you can? Have more depth, and if one of them gets hurt, you still got a regular 5-man rotation at that point. So
I mean, I'm personally like it, especially with what the injury history. Cole's had Tommy John and is now going to be coming back from an injury. Rondon's been off injured his whole career. The problem is they're creatures of habit, and they're used to they're starting on that 5th day, whereas it might mess with them. But I mean, I'm for it. I'd like to see Heel still in the rotation and Schmidt doing so well. Maybe Cortez struggling a little bit. Throw him in the pen. The other thing, I mean, in the NPL, Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan, they use a 6-man rotation.
right.
So I
And
mean,
they don't play as many games.
that is true. But
yeah,
it's looking Judge, who we a couple weeks ago we mentioned he's struggling, is now just the last 10 games 17 for
That's
35.
not too much. I have some hitter lists coming up. Don't steal too much of my thunder from my
Okay,
hitter list.
I'm talking about the Yankees here. I'm
I
excited.
know.
Judges,
Oh,
but he's looking solid after we'd mentioned about him kind of struggling. He's looked like put the ball on the bat, got a couple base hits and go. Soto still looking good. The other thing is the Yankees are going to try to engage Soto in contract talks in season
oh wow, that's good. We'll see what Boris does. So that'd be
because
good.
Hal Steinbrenner came out and said, I want Soto as a Yankee for his career. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, you've mentioned in the past, Boris usually doesn't like to do contracts extension in season, but we'll see how it goes. Baltimore hot on the Yankees' heels. I think it's going to be pretty close all season. They're 27-14. Uh, Burns is, his win loss isn't great, isn't jumping off, but he's good. Grayson Rodriguez 4-1. I mean, I'm not trying to give up too much stats right now,
Yeah, I know. I'm
on the
just
pitchers, but I mean, for me, I think it's going to be a great division. Those two, which is good for baseball. What do you think?
yeah, I know. I wish my team was up there in the mix this year, but it's okay. There's always another year, and I can always remind you of 2004 when certain team had a 3-game lead and couldn't hold on.
Yeah,
So at least I have that hat to hold on to. But it is though. It's a fun season. I watch my Red Sox every single night, even though they disappoint me more often than not, just because they're not a good, fundamentally good baseball team this year. They lead the league in unearned runs given up, even though their pitching staff is among the top, giving up the fewest earned runs, but their unearned runs is among the worst and the worst in all of baseball. And it's just like anytime the Red Sox make an error, the teams take advantage of it, and it's just frustrating. So it's just it is what it is. It's going to be a long season. All I hope is that the Red Sox stay out of the cellar. That'd be one improvement over the last 2 years.
I
They've been in
mean,
the bottom.
if you're looking at what the Red Sox are going, if you get a 500 season, that's not a success, obviously in Boston, but that's
Way
up to,
above what people thought they were saying.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, that's definitely a losing season. Teams like the Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, teams like that. St. Louis, Atlanta, Philly, especially Yankees and Red Sox. It's Yankees and Red Sox fans, New York and Boston. It's World Series or bust. You don't you don't
I
you
know.
don't
That's why I say I just don't know what the new mindset is, because I can't even say if it was new owners, I was gonna say, "Oh, great, we got a cheap new owner." This is the same owner that built the winners, and he realized spend a little money and hey, maybe we can compete against these teams. He won't be little brother anymore if we add a Manny Ramirez contract onto the books, and go out there and make moves like that, and get a Pedro Martinez and bring these people in and everything. It's just a lot. That was Pedro Martinez was in back in the day, but that was starting when the Red Sox showed that, hey, we can be Big Brother too, and start spending money, and it was good, and
yeah,
they
I mean,
did, and they competed obviously, and now it's just like by their standards, they got a lot of money on the books, but most of it is like a lot of it sells money that they're still paying him. He's dominating the Braves. It's just so frustrating, man. It's just
and
it is what it is,
you got the Rays who are a game above 500 right now,
Yeah, they just took 3 or 4 from the Red Sox. Very
and the Red
frustrating
Sox
series.
are 500 at 22-22, and
Yeah,
then
no,
you
I
got
can't believe, and the Blue Jays take up the rear, which I don't know what's going on with Toronto. That team has too much talent to be like that. I don't know.
I mean, for me, they always kind of underachieve. I always going in every year. Maybe not this year as much as last year. As I had high expectations for the Blue Jays, and they kind of always underachieve and definitely let down a little bit. I feel like that's just their mo. You know, but I mean, it's a long season, so who knows? Central's starting to heat up a little bit. Obviously, Cleveland's still, 27-17. Their pitching isn't, you got 4-2 Logan Allen. Stephen Kwan is 353. But the team that for me really interests me is you got KC, Kansas City, excuse me. 26-19.
Yeah,
And
only
that's
a
a young,
game and a half out of the division lead. So yeah, no, they're playing well, man. They're young, so that's another team to keep
very,
an eye
very
on.
young. Obviously, you got Bobby Witt, who's
Well,
293. You got Salvador Perez. He's beaten Father Time. Seth Lugo, who's 6-1 as a starter, who is a bullpen piece with the Mets. And Minnesota, who's coming off that bad sweep against the Yankees, 24-19. Detroit's fallen back a little bit at 21-22, and then the White Sox are just going to compete for the worst team in baseball history this year.
yeah, no, they're up there among it. That's for sure. So among the worst, but the Marlins, who's playing right now, they're saying, well, we match you, Chicago. So that we haven't got to the National League yet, but it's funny that two teams are awful paces. It's like historically bad pace.
The West for this is always the AL West has never seems entertaining. I think one year last year is probably good, but I mean Seattle's not really that for me. I'm not really entertained by Seattle. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Red Sox have already played them this year, so it's like a team I'm a little familiar. But yeah, they're but for that division, I don't know. I mean, who knows, man? That because but don't look now. Houston's slowly moving out of the cellar. They're still so who knows? By the end of the year, they're only 5 games out of first place. A lot of baseball. We were we finally counted out Houston. You and I didn't want to do it for a long time. Last week we kind of counted them out, and here they are now.
Well, right
They're
there,
seven.
19-25, making a little comeback in
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row. They're 7-3 out of the last 10. So maybe you and I should have just not put them to pat. Maybe they heard us and they got motivated. They're gonna say these guys are saying we're not any good
Yeah,
anymore,
and
and here
they're
they are.
the West
I
kind of looks wide open. So I
I
mean,
would have.
Texas isn't.
Yeah,
Nobody's really separating themselves as the top team. Texas is only one game over 500 right now.
yeah.
Unfortunately, the team we talked about, the A's, are starting to fall back at 19-27. Still successful because
Yeah.
I mean nobody really thought much of the A's at all.
No, they
So
look like they would be in battle for one of the worst teams in baseball to start
yeah,
with the
I mean,
Marlins,
and
with the
so
Marlins and the White Sox, and they could still be. They could. The other teams could catch up to them. So, the White Sox and the Marlins record-wise, I'm talking about across the two leagues. So, time will tell. But like I said, I just think we may have awoken a monster in the Houston Astros, and I wouldn't be surprised at this point if they end up winning the division. So,
and NL East. I mean, for me, the NL East is a two-team race. Obviously, Philadelphia
Philly's on fire right
is
now.
on
They're
fire
you
right
and the
now.
Yankees are the only teams that have at least 30 wins on the season already. They got 31 wins already.
Yeah,
So
31-14, so best record in the MLB. Ranger
the,
Suarez, who is
the,
who is always maybe that third pitcher, is looking like the ace. Is 8-0 with the 1.37 ERA. Nola's 5-2, and they're doing it with Zach Wheeler, who's supposed to be their ace, is what 3-3. So I mean, long season, very long, but I mean that's a positive sign
yeah.
uh, for the Phillies.
Yeah. What's funny though is like they've played 5 more. I guess the Braves have had a lot of rainouts or how the schedule falls. I don't know, but they're like 5 games off because they both have 14 losses. But there's like 5 different. I mean, it's like a difference of 5 in the win column. So it's funny on that front. So
Yeah, the Braves are what one was it? We're 2.5 back, but that's because of the win loss. More like which will all even out at they're
yeah,
26-14.
yeah.
Sorry, Chris Sale is looking as advertised when he's
I
healthy.
know, whatever. It is what it is, man. This is not a good night to be a Red Sox fan on this
six and
show.
one,
So.
and if that's a if Strider whenever Strider comes back, I hadn't. That's still 1, 2, 3. If you had Max Fried, Suarez, it'd be a good four because Charlie Morton is definitely a good October pitcher.
Yeah. Oh, for
And
sure.
I'm
And
not
it's just
trying
like,
to.
I mean, where wouldn't the Braves? I mean, you're like 26 and 14, I think. I'm not on the records right now, but
I know.
they aren't even in first place with a record like that. So you just know you're in a tough division when you're like 12 games above 500 at this point in the season and you're not even in first place.
I
So
mean,
it's
I'm
crazy.
a, for yeah for me the other there's another exciting young team that no one's really talking about is the Nationals. For a 2022, no one really saw this coming, but I mean, for me, I'm not like overly surprised. I am surprised a little bit, but the amount of wheeling and dealing the Nationals did and the amount of prospects they got from especially that Soto deal where they got, CJ Abrams, that
Mm.
I'm not overly surprised that they're starting to maybe their guys are starting to pan out a little bit, that they're getting so many top prospects. They got a lot from that Soto deal that at some point you would think if these guys pan out, they'd be competitive.
Yeah. Hey, Nationals have a knack for finding young player. I mean, two of the best players in baseball overall, Harper and Soto. And they came, of course, having top pick with Harper, and then good signing in Soto. But it's just still they had some of the two best young baseball players over the past decade or so come up through their organization. So it's pretty exciting stuff. So we shall see, as I like to say.
Yeah,
We shall
I
see.
mean, I'm not trying to pump them up. October playoffs is out of the question, but to be 2 games under
I,
500 with nobody really talking
yeah, I just
about
not
them.
even a name. I wouldn't even be able to tell you too many people. I'll be honest on their team. You felt,
I know CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, uh, Eddie Rosario's there, but that's
yeah.
Jesse
Mm.
Winker. I think is a Florida guy. I think he's from Orlando.
And then I know Jake Irvin's a pitcher there. I'm seeing he's pitching
But
tonight.
yeah, I mean, the same thing. I don't know much. We got the Central, which I think is one of the more exciting divisions with Milwaukee, who's a young team, still 26-17. The Cubs, who's got uh, Imanaga, who's 5 wins with the 9.6 ERA,
I know
but
he's been really solid.
really solid. But then, I mean, honestly, you got Pittsburgh, who's got two young aces, and obviously, we talked about Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, who was putting up those high numbers before. Now Skeens is breaking them, and then Cincinnati, who's another young, exciting team. I think it's the Centrals for me very exciting and can be. I toss it up, whoever can win it.
Oh, I know. We said that to basically start the year. That division could be anyone's. Even the Cardinals or the Red Sox played tonight. They're in the bottom, but they're still there. This right there with the Reds basically, and there's a few games off the Pirates' pace, so they all have 25 losses. So hopefully the Red Sox give them like 28 losses after this 3-game series. But they start tonight, and so I thought the Cardinals were going to be a lot better than they are. Hopefully they're playing like this, then the team I thought that they may raise up and do better than, because I had predicted them to win the division. I'm totally flopped on that
Well, I think
division.
we're both kind of flopping on that as of now. Rob got 162 games. I don't know how
Yeah.
many we are, 45 in, but I picked Cincinnati, so we're kind of both at the basement right
Yeah,
now.
I
This,
know. So, but like you say, it's early, and
but I mean,
hopefully,
I think St. Louis is another one to watch because if they're not competitive, will they try to ship off Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt as two Gold Gloves that you could get solid prospect pieces for both of them? And I think
yeah,
if they're both on the market, there'll be a lot of interest, especially Arenado. Both of them are, Gold Glovers at their position.
yeah, No, for sure. So a contender, we'll definitely be looking at a few of those. That's why I say it's going to be interesting come, trade deadline. Who's the sellers, the buyers, and I'm just hoping that maybe someone would take Jansen off the Red Sox hands so he doesn't have to pitch the remainder of the season. But he hasn't. He blew the game the other day for us, so I don't know if he has much of a trade value. I'm trying to think of who's on the Red Sox that has some trade value at the, if Paul O'Neill, so my age,
Tyler O'Neill.
Tyler O'Neill, if he
Oh,
keeps,
baby.
yeah, if Tyler O'Neill keeps on hitting like he's been, he's just a one and done contract with how we picked him up on the. So he's a free agent at the end, and he's a Boris, and he's going on to test it. So maybe they can get a not much for him, but a mid tier or something. If I was thinking, I go, the Red Sox are so bad right now, and I don't even know. Now, some of their pitchers, like Pavetta, could they move on for Pavetta because he's coming to the end of his contract and whatever, and he's done okay. I was thinking, man, what hope is there? I go, I don't even know if who would flip anyone good for us. That like at least we could be sellers at the deadline and have a brighter future for my team. So
Well,
we're just
the
kind of
one guy that will get you a lot of prospects is the one guy you don't want to trade, which would be Devers,
yeah, of
because
course,
he
yeah,
can, he could probably get you, maybe two or three top 100 prospects and high level prospects, but you
yeah.
don't
But
want to.
trying to sell that to the Boston fan, I think
No,
that
no, yeah, you
yeah,
don't want to do
I
that.
I know
So
I'm saying,
I
of course,
mean,
on that'd be the straw that broke the camel's back for sure. But
yeah.
they do have some solid pitchers. Obviously, they're going to keep Bello. They signed him already to an extension, so that's good. Yeah, there's someone talking about their baseball. But anyway, all I know is it's good.
I don't know what that
It's
is.
a fun season for the Red Sox, but there's not much to talk about as far as exciting. Like my point was, we already talked about. I don't even think they even have many pieces they would flip, other than their pitching's done a lot better than what people thought. So maybe someone would, make a move from one of those guys because pitching everyone's desperate for at the trade
Always,
deadline.
always desperate for pitching. We'll
Yeah.
move to the West, which Dodgers. It's just it's the
Yeah.
Dodgers and everybody else.
Yeah, you can basically say Dodgers and say, well, that covers the West. So,
Dodgers 29-17. Glass now 6-2, 2.9 ERA, 81 Ks. Yamamoto 4-1, 3.21 ERA. Paxton 7 games started 5-0 with a 2.5 ERA.
I don't even
And
want to talk about Paxton either,
hey,
man.
Paxton
Oh.
was a Yankee before he was a Red Sox, and he never was healthy.
Yeah, that was a problem of Fuzz. He never really stayed healthy, but then he did show some promise when he stayed healthy last year. And then there was rumors that we were going to move him because we knew he was going to be, but then they were just afraid of pissing off the fan base because they were already the fans were booing and not happy that we were not in contention. So if they would have sold, they would have just sent like message to the clubhouse because the veterans still wanted to win and whatever. So it's just they just stood pat basically. They weren't buyers and they weren't sellers, and it's just who knows. It's just that's the tough thing about when you're a big market team not acting like one because at the trade deadline you still don't want to show that you're desperate trading away your good guys, but because you want to show the fans you care, but yet your team's mid, so it's just tough.
I mean, Paxton, that might be, it's a 5 starter. Maybe when Kershaw ends up coming back, you push him out, but that's just the luxuries the Dodgers have. Rob, you had some hitting stats for us. You want to rattle those off?
Yeah, just it's a fun list more than stats. Actually, it's just the best baseball players born, or the best baseball hitting how power rankings for hitters right now. And this was done on yesterday. So it's not that old. It's updated May 16th. They go, here are the latest hitter power rankings as voted by MLB panel. So there's where I'm not making these up. It's not Rob's one. This is what they're saying. Shohei Ohtani, number one. So they have him up there, number one. And it's mainly, they go, thanks to his 1.107 OPS and almost inconceivable 16.1% barrel percentage, all these new fancy stats, he could be very well here to stay. So that's where they have him as number one. Then they got another Dodger and another former Red Sox. Just to rub it in Rob's face once again. They got number two, Mookie Best. He was number one last week, dropped to number two, and it's just a Dodger replaced him. And then let's see how did they average this? Even though he only has a two, they went only 286 batting average and 748 OPS in the month of May. Don't feel too bad for Betts. He still leads in MLB with a 441 on base percentage for the season, along with being one of the three players with an OPS of at least 0.1000. So he's here to stay, and he could still be an MVP this year. So that's what they're saying. Now, to make you happy, Russ, Juan Soto comes in at number 3. And then he goes, though Soto has not led this poll at any point this season, he has joined Betts as the only player to be ranked in the top 3 all 4 times, which is a testament to his remarkable consistency at the plate. Though he's most known for his plate discipline, and for good reason, given that his chase rate has ranked in the 93rd percentile or better in each of the seasons, each of his career seasons. So, and then he goes, he's brought some power to the table in 2024, trailing only teammate in Aaron Judge in average exit velocity. And then number 4, Marcell Ozuna, and their reasoning for him is short. It just says he's ranking second behind Ohtani in XWOBA. So there you go. And then Cal Tucker, who the man was on our thumbtail, he was not ranked last week. He had a hot week. So Cal Tucker of the Astros comes in at number 5. They only did 7, so we're almost at the end. William Contreras comes in at 6. And once again, another Yankee, Aaron Judge comes in. So, actually, they did more than that. They did 10. So I might as well go through the 10. An ad blocked them. So 8 was Ryan Jeffers of the Twins. Salvador Perez of the Royals comes in at 9. And 10, Alec Bohm, Phillies. Bohm has cooled off slightly since a stellar stretch from April to May. Hence his minor decline in our poll, but he's still the team leader in slugging percentage and OPS, and for a Philadelphia team that has been steamrolling everything in sight lately. Other receiving roles: Bryce Harper, Gunnar Henderson, Brent Rooker, Profar, Bobby Witt. Oh, Red Sox got a vote at least. Tyler O'Neill. So there you go. There were some Red Sox. He got another guy getting a vote. So what do you think of that list? Do you basically agree with it?
I agree with it. Ozuna definitely could be higher. Ozuna's been 327, 12 home runs, 41 RBIs.
Yeah.
I mean, Soto was a guy I'm very excited about because just that what he brings to the plate. Obviously, what you brought, his plate discipline's obviously amazing, and I think that was always the downside of the Yankees was always their guys, plate discipline wasn't there. So I think that's, Soto's definitely not just straight, obviously a power hitter, but the guy just works the count and finds a way to get on base, which is nice to have. Ohtani's amazing and Betts is amazing. Judge will, I'm glad Judge starting to pick it up a little bit. Which is nice. But yeah, it's a pretty solid list.
Yeah. But see, I skipped over what they said. They say Aaron Judge, Tucker isn't the only established AL outfielder to be making his season debut on the list, as the Judge has started getting back on track there after an uncharacteristically poor start to the year. Through April 22nd, Joe had a partridge 174 batting average to go with 645 OPS in 20 games. Since then, he has cranked 7 dingers along with a 310 average and 1,119 OPS, giving the Yankees the lethal outfield they envisioned during the offseason. So there you go.
And they're going to have Jason Dominguez will be coming back sometime. He's going to start in AAA, which would just add another piece to that outfield. But, I mean, Judge is 17 for 35 in the last 10 games with 5 home runs, so it's nice to see. Obviously, it helps to have a guy like Soto in front of you, And now Verdugo's batting the cleanup spot, who's hitting it nice to have a little protection, which I feel like always been Judge's issue, not having his protection, because you're not gonna, if Judge is hitting good, you're not gonna walk Soto, and then Judge is right there. One swing of the bat, it could be 2-0.
No, no, for sure, man, for sure. It's just you guys are good. I hate to say it because I don't like you guys, but you have to give credit when credit's due, and you guys are kicking butt so far. It's early
I
still, a lot of baseball to be played,
a
but for
lot
right
of
now,
a
there's
lot of
nothing but
baseball,
kudos.
a lot of baseball. Another name I'm gonna throw out another prospect I'm looking forward to is Rhett Lauder, 7th overall pick with the Cincinnati Reds from Wake Forest. Was actually a top pitcher last year. He went head to head with Paul Skeens in the College World Series. He gave up one run. Skeens did not, so he got the W. But Rhett Lauder's another guy I'm really looking forward to, and I think he might get a call up here soon.
Well, all right, sounds good. And real quick, I know we're coming to the end here. Guys, there's like 17 people watching. If someone just says hi and gives that thumbs up, let us know you're here. I know. Thank you for viewing anyway. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you. Hit those
Yeah,
like buttons, thumbs up
yeah,
all day. Get us
yeah.
seen so we can keep on doing this. But Rob, well, we're almost almost 2 months done with the season. Obviously, your Red
Yeah,
Sox are
no.
not as advertised, but I mean, anything you're just keep on looking, watching baseball. What are you excited for?
Of course, I'm gonna watch. I always watch baseball. To me, it's an enjoyable game. I remember, like I said, I like the guys, man, on the Red Sox. They frustrate the heck out of me, but I still root for them. I want them to do well. So I'm going to watch them all the time. Keep an eye on other teams. So when we do this show every Friday, I kind of know what every team's doing. And it's just fun to talk about, man. So I like it. Um, my Red Sox don't play till 8 tonight. So you guys didn't have to catch me drifting off looking at the game while it's going on. So that's good. That's always good news. So I don't know, Russ. I think that's about covered all the things I had. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm waiting. I'm sitting here waiting for Cole whenever that is. Will be whenever that is. But as always, thank you for everybody who joined us. Rob, it's always a pleasure doing this every Friday. Remember,
yep,
smash those like buttons for us.
yep,
Uh,
that's, yep. That's it, man. See you next week,
yeah,
same
we'll see
time.
you
We'll be
next week.
talking more
This is
baseball.
more baseball. We'll see you next week. This is On Deck. I'm Russ Morgan here with Rob Bosley. Thank you. Have a good night.